The Bobby Allison Buick Apollo. This car was raced from 1984 through 1987 in the Busch Series and was sponsored by Miller American, longtime sponsor of Bobby Allison. This car was built by Allison and his team in his famous Huey Town, Alabama shop and has been restored to its 1987 livery. This piece of stock car history was not only driven by Bobby Allison, but also by his son Davey, as well as Bobby's younger brother Donnie. Coming out of the General Motors factory, Apollos were originally six-cylinder cars that appealed to the family. But with the modifications Allison made for racing, it became one of the most competitive cars on the track.
Well, we had a shop behind the house in Huey Town. We also had the big shop over on the Huey Town road, but the one behind the house is where the things like this got done. And, by then Clifford had gotten serious about his entry into racing, and Clifford was really good help on the mechanical and the fabricating part of the car. And so he got busy, and he'd take whatever suggestion or direction that I tried to give him and really expand on it, and I appreciated that. And it was another one of those ventures that we took. At the time we were involved with Buick in the Cup division, Grand National at the time. We wanted to aim toward running that brand car whenever we ran any event, whether it was a Busch Sportsman or an ARCA car or where it was. And so we got the idea, well, we just put this Apollo together and go run the thing and see how we could do. We tested it Birmingham, probably at Talladega. Yeah, I can't really remember, but probably at Talladega. And we're pretty happy. I drove the car. We would go to a test, and I would get in the car and drive the car. And every once in a while we'd go to test someplace, and Davey and the crew would beat me there, and so Davey'd get a chance to jump in and do a lap or two while they were waiting for me. But his enthusiasm just made all of his antics acceptable. Well, I have to say there were some really, really good cars back in those days, and like you see, the Buick Apollo is way different than the cookie cutter car of today. They had the individual identity of the different brands and the different series in a brand, and I always was really strong on that. I thought that was one of the great parts of NASCAR and the expansion of NASCAR. We didn't really emphasize the beauty of the equipment, the cars back in the earlier days. They looked good, but the main thing was make sure they ran good and turned the corner good. And, well, it is really great to see these old cars getting restored. So many of them we've got fond memories of, and not only myself, but a lot of the competitors that came and went through the days back then can look at them and really get a charge out of seeing some of that stuff restored back to really perfect shape. I'm Bobby Allison, and I used to drive these things.
The car was recovered by Bill Rhine of Rhine Enterprise in 2006 near Blacksburg, South Carolina. It had sat in the mud up to its hubs for several years, and all components of the cars that were below the mud required extensive restoration. Shortly after its rescue, however, this magnificent machine was brought back to its original glory. Here is another piece of racing history that has been preserved for future generations to enjoy and learn from.